Today, let's take a look at using the AI transcription tool to make actual subtitles that can be viewed on the screen. Here we have our little silly breadfruit example. Narrative about things. Yes, what we have here is a breadfruit tree. Okay, so we're going to use this as an example for how to make the subtitles. So instead of choosing the clip, we're going to choose the subtitle in the media browser here and go to AI Tools, Audio Transcription, and Transcribe. And that will create a transcription of the timeline, not the clip, the timeline, your actual edit. So this is something that's done last, because if the edit changes, your subtitles will not automatically change. So let's go ahead and in the three-dot menu here, go to Create Subtitles from Audio. It's going to give us some choices here. Depending on what you're doing, it's fine. I'm going to go to Netflix, and I'm going to change this from 42 characters side to side, maximum to 35. You'll understand why later. And we're just going to go ahead and click Create. And as you can see, it has created a subtitle track. We'll close this, get it out of the way, with our subtitles. Here, have a look. Narrative about things. Yes, what we have here is a breadfruit tree. Oh, did you see that? Did you catch it? It says red fruit tree. Well, that's wrong. Let's go ahead and click on the title that we want to edit. It'll show up in the inspector, and we can just change that right there. And now it's correct. However, you see how the E here is sort of off the edge of the page and just not visible behind the light skin. This is actually a common problem with titles of any kind. There's a couple of things we're going to do here. So this is subtitles, first of all, are part of a standard system for subtitles that work with TVs and YouTube and Netflix, that kind of thing. So it's putting it in a default location so you know where it's likely to show up on your image if you're using the automated system. So be aware of that. We're about to change it because we're going to control where it is, and we're not going to use the automated system necessarily. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of my subtitles, go to track, and here we have the X and Y positions. I'm going to drop them down a little bit like that. First of all, they're more in my black shirt, so it's a little easier to see, but we can make them even easier. Down here we have background. Go ahead and turn that on. Right now the background will shift depending on how many letters there are, how wide the subtitle actually is. I'm going to override that. So I'm going to override that setting and readjust the height to match, and actually like having the bar across the whole side like that, the whole image like that. Again, you'll see why in a minute. Make that a little bit higher. There we go. So now, no matter what's going on in the background, that text is a little bit easier to see. Okay. We are going to change the name of this subtitle to English. We'll get more into that in a minute as well. Now, we have subtitles, but they aren't part of the video the way a title would be. Subtitles, as I said, are part of a kind of an automated system. So there's a couple of options that you need to be aware of for how to use these. So we go to our deliver page, and I'm going to change it to H.264 or H.265 master, doesn't matter. These have the options for subtitles down here at the bottom. So in subtitle settings, I'm going to say export subtitle. And we can export it as a separate file of different types. I generally use SRTs. They work well with YouTube, which is where I'm going. If you need a different format, you'll know which one to take. And then it'll let you select which subtitle track to export as a file. But what if you want those subtitles to show up on your video by default? Basically, it's called burning it in. So we go to Format, and instead we say Burn into Video. And now, whichever subtitles you have visible will be burned into the video exactly as you see it. Obviously, we have the option for different languages. So at the request of folks I work with, let's go ahead and create another subtitle track for a different language. I'm going to go ahead and select all of these again. I'm going to hold Alt and drag up to make a copy right above on my second track. And now we are going to make a different set of subtitles. First of all, you'll notice that you can only see one subtitle track at a time. That's because during the using the automated system for subtitles, you can only see one language at a time. So this is replicating that. Let's go ahead and redo. You notice that the formatting doesn't persist. So we'll go ahead and move that back down to about the same place. Good enough for me. And then redo the background. And redo the override settings and redo the height. Of course, it's still in English, which is fine. We need to turn it into a different language. So I'm going to copy my first subtitle here, go to my handy dandy Elvish translator, and paste it. Copy my Elvish, come back over and paste my Elvish. Now that doesn't look like Elvish, and that's because this is a particular font, which I happen to have. Obviously, if you're using a language that requires its own font, this is how you would use it. So now we have a separate subtitle track here for Elvish. Go ahead and grab the English for my second subtitle. Head back over to my Elvish translator. Grab the Elvish and paste it in. Third one, grab the English, grab the Elvish, and so on. Now, if you are going to burn in the subtitles, you'll see that it will only do one, as it should. And you can't change them here on the deliver page. So if you want to burn in an Elvish version, you would do it with the Elvish version visible, go back to your edit page, make the English version visible, and then now it will burn in the English version. But what if you want them both visible on the screen at the same time? Also by request of my friends who are doing this on a project they've got going on. Well, we can't do two subtitles at once, so we're going to have to use regular titles. So I'm going to grab a Text Plus and put it down here under the subtitles. And I am going to go into the Text Plus here, and go ahead and change my text to Elvish. And now that'll give us a sense of size. I think I will leave it the default size. Go ahead and shift to layout here, and settings. There we go. And that gives us our standard positioning stuff. We'll take it up here, go back to title, go into layout here, and have a look at the background. Now this works differently than it does with the subtitle system. So we have a background, but you can't see anything, right? That's because the alpha is all the way down. It's basically transparent. So let's turn the transparency up, and you see the issue. The background is the entire screen, and we've just moved it up so we can see it through the bottom. Let's leave it there for the moment, and go back into our setting, and here we have cropping. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut off the bottom of the title, and thus the background. Bring that up there. We'll cut off the top as well to give us a little space at the top, like we have a little space below the English subtitles. And, oh yeah, we need the sides. So we'll bring the sides in a little so they're about the same. Now, it's not exactly the same. It's a little thicker because of the size of the font, top to bottom. And there's rounding of the edges. There's a slight rounding of the edges here. There's not one there on this background. But this is good enough for me. So then now that we have a title that is all formatted correctly, copy it, go to the beginning of the next subtitle, paste it, cut it down to size, we'll go ahead, grab our Elvish, and paste it into the title. Not the subtitle, but the title. Now you have both. Ladies and gentlemen, I am here to give you a concise, hopefully. Now, I have no idea if that's right. Any of you Elvish speakers out there can feel free to laugh. I am aware that this is not the way to do translations at all. You will need a native speaker or somebody who understands, a fluent speaker of that language, to help do the subtitles translations for you, because the sentence structure is going to be different, the grammar is going to be different. It doesn't work the way I'm doing it. I'm just showing you the titling process. But now we have another problem. We're covering up a fair amount of the image with these two subtitles. What if you wanted maybe do a square video with the subtitles and the titles above and below in the black space? Well, that is actually why I shortened it from 42 characters to 35. I'm going to have and duplicate my subtitle timeline here. And then in the timeline settings, I'm going to override the project settings and change the timeline resolution from 1080 HD to 1080 HD square. And here you have it. Our subtitles are now above and below in the black space. So that space is exactly how I would like. So I'd go ahead and adjust these a little. Go ahead and move the bottom one up so that it's centered. Then grab the text titles and move them down a little. Doesn't update right away sometimes with the titles because it's a fair amount of processing work for it to do. We'll assume that's correct. And when we get to the output here, too far. See, now it's updated. Go back and fix that. Let's bring those up. Yeah, there, now it's updating. About right there. Now, when we go to burn in our subtitles again, that'll burn in the English, and then the Elvish, in this case, is going to be above the video. Not too hard, right? There's some technical details to doing subtitles the correct way, where you would upload the SRT file to YouTube and have several different languages available. Let's have a look at that real quick. So if you export it as a separate file, you see that it gives you options for which. And so those will not appear. Oh, if I do that, I'm going to want to disable those. So now my Elvish burned in subtitles won't appear. And I can export the SRT files for English and Elvish, upload those SRT files to YouTube, for example, and then your viewers will have the option to select between English and Elvish subtitles. Actually, I don't know if Elvish actually works with YouTube. That'd be kind of funny if it did, right? Anyway, that's a quick look at subtitling using the AI tools that the studio version of Resolve provides. Thanks for coming along. Catch you next time.